My husband spends every weekend with a younger woman he calls his chosen family and says I'm just being insecure. Meanwhile, I'm 8 months pregnant and getting ready for our baby by myself. My husband John and I are in our mid-30s and have been together for 8 years now. We've been through a lot of big life stressors. It has strained our marriage and we've worked hard in 2 years of marriage counseling to rebuild. I'm now 8 months pregnant. I'm feeling vulnerable, huge, hormonal, and tired. I'm the primary earner and workload has been a lot on top of the baby prep. I'm normally a very rational, independent, and sort of non-emotive person. I've never been jealous before. But my husband has a new female friend who I'll call Pam, and I'm now jealous and possessive. Even I find it weird. Pam is mid-20s, white, has my husband's preferred physical features, is bubbly, spontaneous, in an open relationship, and into the same hobbies as my husband. I have my own qualities, but I'm pretty much the opposite. John met Pam and liked her immediately. I remember him coming home and telling me how cool she was, and he'd been invited to a hobby event she hosts with her partners. He's been attending that every other weekend for a year. Then a few months later he also wanted me to get to know Pam, so we started having her and her partner Kevin over with some of our other friends on the in-between weekends, so my husband sees them every weekend. To be fair, Pam and Kevin have been really nice and are good friends to John. But there are things I've noticed. Pam always sits next to John. She and John say love you casually to each other with the group. John is very protective of Pam, and he remembers things she likes and buys her gifts. Nothing pricey, but thoughtful. If for some reason one of these events is cancelled, John is noticeably sad. Going even a week without seeing them is hard for him. Because of these weekend commitments, we don't do date nights and rush other activities. If I have other plans, then we split up and don't see each other. We're discussing in counseling but can't come to an agreement. Our counselor facilitates but doesn't give direct guidance. I've shared that it feels like he's prioritizing this relationship over our own. That I hate that these standing date nights with Pam and her partners trump our own. That he's not keeping up with commitments to me or the baby. And I'm managing with my own support network of family and paid help, but at 8 months along I need help. That this needs to change. He shared that Pam and her partners are part of his new chosen family since he's had to move away from his family because of me. That I said it was okay for him to spend this time with them and I can't just change my mind, that it's unfair. That he's willing to spend more time with me but then something else needs to give, either chores for him or me adjusting my work schedule. That he thinks I'm overly sensitive and am only worried because Pam's relationships are open and my insecurities are something I should deal with in individual therapy. I'm really not sure what a compromise looks like, and counseling seems to just cause us to entrench more. Wondering what advice anyone out there might have? Relevant comments. Commenter, how do you plan to handle the new upcoming baby? Have you discussed what your schedule will look like then? Since he is going to need to spend a lot of time caring for the child and your schedules will need to change. It seems like the thing to do is to start fresh and decide what things are going to look like once the baby is born. Since you are the primary earner, he should be the primary caregiver and you both will have less time for socializing. OP, we're going to take a break from social commitments for 2 months and then reevaluate, but he's likely to want to continue to see them at least every other weekend. The compromise to take care of the baby is he's going to stop working to care for baby Monday through Friday, 1 weekend day for our family, and 1 weekend day with Pam and crew for their hobby. I've said in counseling this doesn't seem reasonable. I'm running out of options, and debating calling my husband's dad at this point, who I'm close with and will be on my side, but husband will probably lose it if I bring in his dad. Commenter number 2, she's in an open marriage and they say love you to each other in public? He's cheating on you. How does he defend this in therapy? OP, he says it just means love you in a generic casual way, and when they say it they mean it to everyone in the group. He says it's the same as when he says love you to male friends he is close with, and I shouldn't read too much into it. I've never said love you to a male friend, even only rarely to female friends. Commenter number 3, did you tell him it makes you uncomfortable? OP, I think my exact words were it's weird and I hate it while crying. The second trimester was a fun time. He chalked it up to hormones and we never spoke about it again. I haven't heard them say it in front of me again, but who know what they text or say when they're together. Commenter number 4, you're pregnant with his child? If his deadbeat ass wants to go have a new family, tell him to enjoy that and take him to the cleaners for child support. These gaming nights, is it Dungeons and Dragons or something similar? Watch a YouTube channel called Neckbeardia. Get a sobering laugh from listening to the stories of sexual debauchery that tend to happen in those gatherings. Your husband does not want to be with you anymore, he isn't intimately attracted to you anymore. You married a child who wants to play with others instead of taking care of his offspring. Guys like this make me want to vomit. OP, ding ding ding. Dungeons and Dragons with MTG for good measure. Commenter number 5, have you talked to Pam to find out what he's been telling her? I'm disappointed that she hasn't clued in to put a stop to it, but he could be lying to her. After all, you have been part of this social circle too. Is she friendly with you as well? I would explain that he's been behaving in ways towards her and in private with you that make you very uncomfortable and you'd rather communicate openly with her about it. It will give you a better read on it. And best case scenario, it may very well put a stop to it if he has been misleading her. OP, I only see Pam in a group setting along with other friends and she's now been introduced to my friend group. We're socially nice to each other, but definitely not close enough to talk directly to each other. And to be honest, Neither of us really likes the other. We're very, very different people. Update, 2 years and 7 months later. Hi. It's been a while since I last posted. Our little boy is 2.5 now. I want to say thank you to everyone who commented. It was the kick in the butt I needed to lay down the law. Especially the folks that rightly pointed out that I was being a passive doormat without any self-respect. That really stung, but it was true. After my post, I had a big sit down with John on the things I was upset about. My husband was traveling to be a groomsman for a good friend, so I told him to stay out there for an additional week and decide on these things. 1. If he wanted to stay married and wanted to be a family. 2. If he wanted the above, think about what needed to change on his part, not just Pam but other stuff too, how he was going to be a good husband and father going forward. And 3. Arrange to go over it with me and our marriage counselor on his return. Alternatively, if he didn't do the above, then when he got back we'd start logistics on separation and co-parenting. And surprisingly, he did all the above. Apparently he reflected a lot at the wedding. His friend and his wife are such an in-love couple, and thought a lot about us and our relationship and what he wanted out of life. He came back and proposed the changes, an immediate break from Pam and her company, and stopped to their hobby. He'd take over remaining baby prep, like the nursery and logistics, and then promised to lay out a postpartum care plan for me and the baby. He actually stuck to his word and also worked so hard to regain my trust. Then we had our son and my husband was over the moon in love. He and the baby have been inseparable ever since and have an amazing adventure-filled life with all the hobbies, baby swim, gym, soccer, co-op, and a great local parent community. After our kiddo was born, Pam lost interest in my husband anyway. She doesn't like kids, and shortly thereafter cheated on her poly relationship. Kevin and John have actually become good friends since then, but John is straight so I have no worries there. And as I've reflected, I think I also just actually hated Pam. She's everything I don't like, relying on men for affirmation, no job and life ambition, frivolous and stupid. And apparently, according to Kevin, the feeling was mutual. She thought I was a controlling, stuck-up, robotic Ivy League workaholic who didn't appreciate or support my husband's hobbies and quirks. I was also a lot more emotional during pregnancy than normal. My husband, on reflection, really liked being needed and admired. We had a lot to work through with us, but 2 years later we're in a great spot. I also had a weird shift in hormones postpartum which made my intimate drive really high, which for us helped a lot with our relationship. I didn't want this to be too long, but there were a lot of changes we implemented to get back to a loving place. John feels a lot of purpose in being a dad and supported me as my career has taken off. Sometimes things are still hard, my job is really high stress, toddlers are a lot of work, etc. But we're pretty happy. We spent this morning snuggling in bed with our toddler and dog, pretending we were on a boat, making hairdryer sounds, and giving hugs. We live a pretty boring suburban kind of life, but it works for us. Thanks everyone for the push for me to stand up for what I wanted and needed.